So inside my mystery box here is a low profile air conditioner heat pump unit. In the last episode, I briefly mentioned that I've got a new air conditioner heat pump unit, so let's unbox it. So that's a low profile 4700 series heat pump. It's 13,500 BTU. It comes shipped with a lid in this outer cardboard. I wouldn't really call it a box, but then it's bolted to a little wooden pallet. So it looks like you're going to have to take the top cover off to get the inside of the unit so that I can unbolt it from that little wooden pallet assembly. Now that I've got the screws out, I'll lift the top cover off and see if I can figure out where it's bolted down to the little pallet at. It actually does not appear to be bolted down. There's just a little stud here in the front that keeps it from moving. And maybe we've got something else like that in the back. No, it pivots on that stud, so that's all there is that holds it in place. Plus these side strips keep it from moving. And there's some little foam rubber support pieces on the bottom. The first step involved is to take these two little black quarter-turn plastic screws, turn them counterclockwise. The vent housing drops down, or the filter cover, and it slides towards you. Prior to removing the ceiling assembly, be sure to turn off the circuit breaker that provides power to the air conditioning, or don't have it plugged into shore power. After you have your ceiling assembly removed, then pinch these two tabs right here to unplug the connector from the control box, and then disconnect your AC wiring. And here's a better view of the 4 screws. You can see that they're about 3 inches to 4 inches long. Here's my plan to get the old air conditioner off the roof. I have a banquet table that I've laid out between my shop, loft, and the roof. And the next thing I'm going to do is put a couple of pine 1x12s across here. And lay out a small moving blanket and a piece of cardboard. So the logic behind the blanket is so that the cardboard would be really easy to slide. Hardly takes any effort at all. Ooh, look at that. It just skims right underneath the railing. So looking at the footprint of the old air conditioner, you can see that the back edge of it sits just about even with the front rail of the roof rack. And the front sits just a few inches forward of that hole. I put a little bit of sealant over each of the staples that hold the roof membrane to the roof itself. And now we're going to get ready to slide the new unit into place. So here's this rooftop unit in place. And it does extend further back than the original unit. The original unit was almost even with that roof rack. And this is a straight-on shot looking at the roof right at the top of the roof rack. So that kind of gives you a basic idea of how much lower this unit sits than the original unit. Here's a quick rundown of the rooftop unit from the inside. Your cool air comes out here. This is the return air. Okay, here's the wire harness. And here's all my parts. First thing I want to do is go ahead and attach my clamp ring. It actually is a snug fit just like that. And these aren't threading in quite right. They're sort of cross-threaded, and that's because the clamp ring is not totally square and lined up with the ceiling units. So I really should reposition the ceiling unit a little bit. It looks like it needs to go forward some. Okay, that one's threading in now. Okay, I've adjusted the rooftop unit just a little bit more. And now I'm going to use a power drill to run the screws up. The reason I'm doing this Loctite is to keep those bolts tight. On the previous air conditioning unit, twice I've had these screws loosen up, resulting in just a little bit of a gap between the air conditioner gasket and the roof. And I had a small water leak. Fortunately, both times that it happened, I was in the camper using it while it was raining. And a little bit of water started to drip down, and I immediately took everything apart, took the ceiling assembly off, and I figured out what the problem was. So I didn't have any water damage. Next step, I'm going to attach our plenum assembly. There's one hole right here, one here, and one here. There's an existing screw right there. You take that screw out, and that screw goes right here. And you just want to be careful that you don't tear that plenum assembly with your screwdriver. And this is our next piece. So what I've done is attach that ground wire to one of the screws on the clamp that holds the wire in place. So now I pivot this around, kind of tuck my wiring up inside. Pull my ducting down through here. Position this in place, and it actually screws to the ceiling flange. After I've got my 4 screws in, then I'm going to hook up my electrical wires here. And I did neglect one thing before screwing this down. My green braided wire harness, I forgot to plug that in to the top of my ceiling unit. And then we'll just tuck our wires up in that little box, which is easy. And we've got 2 more screws and a little cover. Next step, pull my ducting down first though. I will peel off the red backing tape. Easier if I start right here where it overlaps and one end meets the other. And just press it into place, and that's really about it. Got a sharp blade installed in my utility knife. So now I'm going to go ahead and install the lower unit of the ceiling assembly, and that is held in place with 4 screws which are accessed behind the filter. Okay, and there's 4 screws and 4 holes in the ceiling flange, and that's where these screws go. After you have your ceiling unit bolted up with those 4 screws, then we'll go ahead and install the filters. And these filters install with the ribbed dividers facing up. And once that's done, then we can install the knobs. Okay, so our knobs go with the power switch, the one that says off, low cool, low heat, high heat, fan only. That one goes on the front, and they have a flat portion on the shaft which lines up with the flat portion inside of the knob. And they just press fit into place, and there we go.